Well, good day, Knights of North Castle, and welcome back here to Story Hall here at North Castle. On last week's quest for the King's Armor, we explored the story of the birth of the baby Jesus. And we learned how the angels declared the Prince of Peace had come. Do you remember who the angels told? The shepherds, that's right, the shepherds. And after they heard the angels and they went to see the baby, those shepherds went and spread the good news that the Prince of Peace had come. We learned when we welcome God's peace into our hearts, and then when we go and share that good news with other people, we are armoring up with the shoes of peace. Yes, young knights, it appears that we wear the King's armor when we believe and declare the Prince of Peace has come. Oh my, Story Hall seems rather quiet today. I just can't figure out what's different. Well, the King's book is here as usual. I can see that. And yes, young knights, I know that you're here too. And you've learned that the King's book has two important sections. There's the one section that we call the Hebrew Scriptures, or the Old Testament, and that's in the first part of that big book. And then there's the other part that we call the New Testament, or the Christian Scriptures. And each time we gather for our quest to find the King's armor, we experience a story from either the Hebrew Scriptures or the Christian Scriptures, the Old or the New Testament. I just can't figure out why Story Hall seems so particularly quiet today. I see this, the banner verse hath appeared here as usual, which reminds me, young knights, that on any quest in search of the King's armor, it requires us to be prepared. And I can think of no better way to be prepared than with the word of the Lord. Look here once again, young knights, at our banner and see thou our guiding verse. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. And that's found in Ephesians 6:10. That was a letter the Apostle Paul wrote. Perhaps my young knights could recite our banner verse with this, thy good night. Can you say it after me? Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. Ephesians 6:10. Now let's put it all together. I'll say it and then you echo it. And I'll say it and then you echo it. We'll do it twice. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. Ephesians 6:10. Be strong. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. Ephesians 6:10. Wow, that is awesome. I'm clapping for you because it's so good. And the clapping echoes in Story Hall, and then it falls silent. Oh my, young knights, this thunderous silence, this absolute solitude doth give me a premonition of something bad might be happening. It's so quiet, just so quiet. I don't know why it's so quiet. Oh! Oh my! Oh, terror of terrors! Oh, ghost of fair maiden! Thou dost take my breath away. I'm aghast at this, the sight of thou transformed into a ghostly creature. I must summon all my knightly courage and inspect this ghostly apparition a bit closer. Kids, that means I need to check it out. Oh my. Oh my. Oh, I found something here. Oh my. Lords and ladies in the land and all my young knights, this fragment of parchment which I've found on that, what seemed like an apparition, like a ghost of fair maiden. Well, oh, silly me, good night. Fair maiden hath scribed me a note, informing me that she hath departed on an errand into the countryside today. She hath also informed me that she doth loan me her vestments. That means she's letting us borrow her clothes for today's quest in search of the king's armor. But how, pray tell, might these vestments of fair lady aid us in our request? In our quest. Well, young knights, I do declare our quest today is for the shield of faith. How does that relate to this? My memory hath finally been stirred. Fair maiden hath loaned us her vestments for this very purpose, to indeed appear as a ghost. For in our story today from the King's book, the disciples of Jesus, that means the guys that followed Jesus, his friends, they thought they hath seen a ghost. Now, knights, young knights and old, wise knights and learning knights, every knight, this story from the King's book today has a lot of ups and downs. It's a story about Jesus and his disciples and takes place right after their miraculous feeding of 5,000 people. Now, I'll need you to help with this story, and there's a way that you can do it. Whenever I say the word up, I'm going to have you stand up. And whenever I say the word down, I'm going to have you sit back down. So let's practice it, okay? I'll repeat what I said right at the very beginning, and you try it. When you hear the word up, what do? Stand up and down. This story today from the King's book has a lot of ups and downs. Great job, knights. I think you're ready for me to tell the story. Now, after Jesus had finished the miracle of feeding the 5,000, all the people were filled up. And the crowds then settled down. Jesus made his disciples get into a boat to go to the other side of the lake. Then Jesus walked up to the mountain to pray. He continued even after the sun had gone down. Meanwhile, the disciples were having trouble. The winds had really picked up, and the boat was being battered by the waves far away from the land. Very early the next morning, Jesus, while it was still dark, Jesus came down from the mountain and walked on the lake out toward the disciples. When the disciples saw this, fear swelled up within them. "It's a ghost," they said. Now Jesus tried to calm them down, saying, "Don't be afraid. It's me, Jesus." And so Peter replied, "Lord, if it is you, order me to come right out to you on the water." And so Jesus said, "Come, therefore, Peter." So Peter got up and started walking out on the water toward Jesus. But when Peter saw the strong winds and the heavy waves, he became frightened and he started sinking down. And he shouted out, "Lord, rescue me." Now, before Peter could flounder in the water very much, Jesus reached out his hand and grabbed Peter, pulling him up out of the water. And Jesus said, "You man of weak faith, why did you begin to doubt?" When Peter and Jesus got into the boat, the wind settled down. Then those in the boat worshiped Jesus and said, "You must indeed be the Son of God." The disciples were learning that through all of life's ups and downs, the love and power of Jesus would be with them always.
The disciples saw Jesus walking on the water and thought he was a buoy, a boat, a ghost, or the same fish that swallowed Jonah.
Say it out loud. What did he see?
A ghost.
That's right.
What is a moat? Water surrounding a castle, a motorboat, a small goat, a very warm jacket.
Moat, boat, and motor.
Water surrounding a castle.
That's right. That's what this is right here.
A drawbridge is a bridge for artists to use, a movable bridge over a moat, a bridge that is drawn in a picture, a bridge used only by fire trucks.
A movable bridge over a moat. That's right. Protect the castle.
A movable bridge over a moat. Thanks for playing!
So, young knights, welcome back to Story Hall. Here we are, and we are talking about the story that was before us. And I have a couple of questions today. When the disciples saw Jesus walking on the water, what did they think he was? Fair maiden? No. What did they think he was? A ghost, that's right. Now, they were seeing this thing with their own eyes, but they had a hard time believing that this ghost was Jesus. And finally, Jesus called out to them and said, "Don't be afraid." And then who joined Jesus on the water? Do you remember? What was that man's name? Peter. That's right. Now, was Peter able to walk on the water at first? Was he able to walk on the water? Yeah, at first he was staying up, but then he started to doubt. And then he was sinking, and what did Jesus do? He reached out his hand and saved Peter. Well, Peter and the disciples had recently witnessed the miracle of Jesus feeding 5,000 people, and it was a miraculous moment. They saw his power, and then when Peter was sinking like a rock to the bottom of the lake, Jesus did something miraculous again. He just reached up and pulled him out of the water, and they were able to stand on the water. The stories of the Bible are filled with some interesting miracles of God through Jesus Christ, and that's why the King's book is so important to it. It has so much for us to learn. Now, Peter struggled with his faith while Jesus was right there, right with him in the flesh, just like good night, I am with you, young knights. But we're called to have faith in Jesus, even though we can't see him. Jesus, we can't see here, but we know that he's here by our faith. The Bible tells us that faith is the reality of what we hope for and the proof of what we don't see. So we need to keep arming ourselves with faith, believing that Jesus is with us always and can help us. Well, jolly good Knights of North Castle, I believe we're ready to say our castle call out just one more time. Why don't we stand up together, because it's soon going to be time for our recreational movement. Let's say our castle call out together. Armor up with faith. Can you say that? Again, one more time. All right, Knights, I believe you are ready to follow this lady who is here with the lords and ladies to lead you out.